You know what? I don't care what nobody say, y'all. I don't care how many lines the BTG writers give us. I don't believe for a moment, y'all, that Ted is really in love with Shanice. I mean, it was just a few weeks ago that she wanted him to be in love with her. And he said he wasn't. He wasn't there yet. Now, all of a sudden, I mean, it's just like he's still at the Bowman. Yeah, okay. You know what? I can't. I can't talk too much about Ted because y'all know what's going to happen. I'm going to go all kinds of crazy because y'all know I cannot stand this character, okay? Just when I think I'm on the edge of saying, maybe they can redeem Ted for me, right? Ted does something else, okay? But y'all, I'm sorry. I don't believe it. Now, he may really be in love with her, and maybe this is going to be a storyline, y'all, that they're going to pour a lot of heart and soul into. Who knows? They may get married. Shanice may have a kid. I don't know. All I know is I don't feel like Ted is too far off from sleeping with Leslie again if it came down to it. And at the very least, sleeping with Nicole if it came down to it again. I mean, what's going to happen? Is Shanice going to walk into his office and see he and Nicole sharing a kiss one day? So anyway, yeah. All right, y'all, I got my notes here. Let's talk about episode 134. By the way, really quickly, I'm going to address this again very, very quickly, guys, and we're going to move on, okay? You know, I want to say something to all of you because I feel like a lot of you are like me. You are professional women. You have home lives, whatever that consists of, and you're not emotionally immature, right? And so I don't really know how to speak to people like me but to be straightforward. I mean, I prefer when people do that. I don't get offended. So I'm just going to say this. If you were with me weeks and weeks ago, I did share that there were going to be changes that I was making to my YouTube channel. I even put up a picture right on our community tab that says under construction. And I talked about how I would be changing the comment section where only subscribers can comment. And then I would be working on tweaking using software to tweak the sound of my voice, right? Because I really want to make this fun for me, y'all, because I'm the one doing the work. It has to be fun for me. And so, a lot of you've noticed, right, that my voice is sounding a little bit different, but it's still me. It's still the same recapper. But this is what I'm going to say to you. Because we are all grown, y'all, as grown folks, we don't complain. This is what children do when they don't like something. They stomp their feet and they kick and they make a mess. We are grown. A lot of us are so grown, we ought to be ashamed of some of the comments we're leaving, okay? So we're grown. If you don't like it, I get it. It's not a big deal. Remember, it's just the internet. It's not life or death. You're not going to go to jail. I'm not going to go to jail for making changes. When we don't like things as adults, we do not complain. We leave. That's what I do. We're here to talk about a fictional show. This stuff ain't real, y'all. We're just here to have fun, okay? And I am having fun, all right? And I want to get together and laugh and talk about our show. There are tons and tons of other great recappers that do a better job than I do even. Go there. It's just that simple, y'all, okay? All right, now I'm done talking about this because we are grown, and that's it. All right, let's go. You know, I don't get it that Ted and Shanice have both told each other that they love each other, right? That's what happened. And now they are going around their job at the hospital telling everybody, okay? And so today on the episode, Ted and Shanice are giggling and sniggling, girl, okay? I'm like, you know what? I cannot with this. Y'all, can I say this? Y'all know when we switched from Maurice Johnson to Keith D. Robinson, I was down for it because, in my opinion, Maurice, he was a handsome guy, but he really couldn't act, okay? Not to mention they had given him so few lines, so which means you really need to make the most of if you got 2 lines, you got to hit them, you know what I'm saying? it just didn't seem to be his thing, okay? And so then they gave us Keith, and Keith plays the sappy, weak, need a woman to tell him which way is left and right. He plays that really, really well. But how come it's getting on my nerves? But I was going to talk to y'all yesterday, and I forgot about how sexuality in the writer's room affects what we see on the screen. And I'm going to say this, and it's just the truth, okay? I think the last time I checked, there were more members of the LGBTQ plus community that were a part of our writer's room than not. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, there are a lot of great LGBTQ plus writers who write great copy for heterosexual men and women. But then there are some who don't. And I really think for the ones who are in our writer's room, who are writing the stuff for these, what are supposed to be heterosexual men, I don't know if they are really equipped to do the best job, right? And sometimes it just needs to be more of a balance if people aren't really skilled at writing dialogue for something they're not. You know what it's like to me? It's like a white woman, and I'm a black woman. It's like a white woman trying to write dialogue for me about something going on in the black culture. And it's like, you can if you want to, but will it be really good? That's my thing. Will it be really good? Will it be authentic? Do you understand what I'm saying? No offense to anyone in the LGBTQ plus community. That is not how I mean this. I don't want nobody to take my words out of context and be like, sis says that. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. I'm just simply saying, I think a lot of the problems with our male characters who are just like, I feel like I'm watching something Tyler Perry would write. That's what I'm trying to get to. It's like, what? You know how he's always writing these broke down black women who take all this abuse and all this kind of a mess, even if they have 11 degrees, even if they're highly successful. And then there's always the men who's so sappy and weak. And that's kind of the feel that this stuff has been giving for a long time. And I really do think it has a lot to do with who's writing the dialogue for these characters. If not, that may be something that they need to take into consideration, y'all, for season 3. What do y'all think about it? Let me know. Again, we don't have to get nasty. I'm just asking your opinion. What do you think about it? Do you think the sexuality of the writers matter when they're writing love dialogue for characters that they don't represent in real life, right? I mean, a black man is a black man, right? Straight or gay. A black man is a black man. So I'm not talking about on that level. I just mean a lot of these men, it's like, what is going on here? And it's not just one or two. It's the majority of them. Okay. So that was what I was going to say yesterday. Okay. So anyway, Keith does a great job playing this weak, wimpy character. But I kind of get the feeling about what Maurice Johnson used to say when he left Beyond the Gates. He used to say, I wanted to bring manhood to the character of Ted. Y'all, there was a reason that man said that. There's a reason that he kept saying, I am not gay, and I wanted to bring manhood. And I told y'all, I think the real issue there was a creativity issue. I think he was wanting them to write the character a different way, and they were like, this is the way we're going, and you either get with the program or get the heck out. And so they let him go if they felt like he was being difficult and maybe wanted things to be changed. So I'm hoping for season 2. I've given up that is going to change in season 2. But for season 3, I'm hoping, y'all, that they revamp the writer's room in such a way, not get rid of the LGBTQ plus people, because everybody has something valuable to offer, but these male characters, they need to be written differently. I'm sorry. They're falling into too many tropes for me, okay? Now, Ted and Shanice are giggling and sniggling, child, up at the coffee station, talking about how they love each other and how many times they've said it. What is it, the 50th time? All this kind of mess. And y'all, Ted proposes it's time for them to take that trip, right? He says, are you in a New York state of mind? And he proposes this, supposed vacation, of which Shanice shoots down, saying, basically, I'm on my feet all day. And the last thing I need, honey, no, she didn't say it no, she didn't say it like this. But she said to him the last thing she needs on a vacation is to be on her feet, with all this, touring and trying to look at this and that. And so he proposes a boat, that they get a nice boat in New York. I guess they're going to be on the Hudson or whatever. And so later we see Andre, who has shown up to Ted's office to talk to him, we suppose, about whatever it is that's going on with him, and about the fact that, this whole Tia Allen spread, this whole interview, he's not feeling it whatsoever. And just as he sits down with Ted, guess who comes in with her little tablet talking about, I've opened, there are some days that have opened up on my calendar, and y'all, Andre is, then thrown for a loop, and he's saying, basically forget it. And, I shouldn't be so nervous about this. And Ted reminds him, you have been in the company of a many great person. So you of all people should be totally fine with doing an interview with Tia Allen. So today's episode really, they showed us Andre just looking very uncomfortable anytime someone brought up Tia Allen. Let's go to Andre. What was he doing before he came over there? Well, at first he started off in the bed with Danny. Y'all know that's all they do, right? So he's in the bed with Danny, and they're giggling and sniggling and playing around. And she gets a call from Nicole. Meet me at the country club immediately. And so he gets dressed and he goes over to Orphe Jean's to get something to eat, where he runs into Kat and Deanna, who had been sitting there talking. And Deanna's off taking a call or doing what she's doing, and he sits down with Kat, and y'all, they're cousins after all, right? Even though it's cousins through marriage. And he divulges to her that he is quite nervous about this whole thing, and that he just really would like to stay in the background. And y'all, Kat reminds him about Dolly Parton's husband, that he chose a very different life than his famous wife. And the fact that he wanted to stay in the background did not affect her career. And y'all, it never did. I mean, that was true. Whoever wrote them, that's very true. Most people never even seen her husband. There are pictures of them together, of course, but she rarely talked about him. And she just was able to keep her marriage sacred because her husband did not desire the limelight. And so Kat, y'all, just encourages Andre, don't let nobody force you. I didn't say boy, but she didn't say that. But don't let nobody force you into trying to do something you don't want to do. Y'all, I'm just going to say this. If we find out, BTG writers, that this whole mess with Andre is a nothing burger, I'm going to take off not 2 weeks, but 3. Okay? By the way, speaking of Andre, y'all, I've been wondering, do y'all think it's possibly Bill that's doing all of this? Because these little notes and whatnot didn't start until after the tornado. And now that Bill feels that Danny most definitely, is done, and that really was a one-time thing in the elevator, could it be that it's Bill? He got somebody, Caroline, doing somebody trying to scare Andre off so he can have free range with Danny. It's very possible that Andre's problems are closer to home than we think, right? And they've got us thinking it's some crazy stalker, ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, baby mama drama, when it could be Bill, girl. Let's now talk about, y'all, Danny and Nicole. So Danny goes over to the country club. And y'all know, she's like, "What, is everything okay?" Only for Nicole to say that she was up all night thinking about what Ted said to her. How dare he? How dare he be in her head this way? And so Danny's like, "Well, what did he say?" And so she tells her everything except the fact that Ted is now in love with Shanice, and Shanice is in love with him. And so she's saying to her that he basically said, in essence, she feels like she was using Carlton. Carlton got her over the hump. She was a disaster after Ted, she tells her sister. But it was Carlton, and look at what he got in return. But y'all, Danny reminds her, wait just a second. You know, you don't owe nobody nothing. You are dealing with two grown men. Okay, they both knew what they were in it for. They both knew what it was. Nicole says that even though she's enjoying Kyle, she's still not ready to make a commitment, and she doesn't want anything to mess up the gravy train, honey, the free will sex that they have, and so on and so forth. And, you know, Danny is doing a great job encouraging Nicole, right, y'all, that listen, you don't have to make a decision. If you're not ready, and it's like, I'm kind of like, why is Nicole trying to keep up with Ted? Ted is the one who destroyed their marriage through his lies and cheatations. Why is she trying to keep up with him? So I feel like this is some form of jealousy. It's just the same reason. The only reason why, y'all, in my opinion, that Nicole even started all this, jumping on the backs of different men, okay, or jumping on the fronts of different men, is because she was trying to keep up with Danny. She wanted to know what it was like to have the kind of personality Danny has. Free will, have fun. I'm my own woman. I own my pleasure, all those things. But it's not really Nicole. Even Ted has told her that. Even Carlton told her that. You were acting out, basically, And so Danny talks her down from all the worry, and she says to her, screw what Ted said to you. Basically, keep doing you. And when you are ready to commit to whoever, you will. But until then, keep having fun. And that seems to be exactly what Nicole wants. Well, they're talking, and Danny's talking, and they're just getting caught up on other things when you already know who comes over to the table. Leslie, okay? Leslie's fresh, y'all, off of intruding on Eva's interview with Noah about him being over the free clinic, where she bombarded the whole thing, took over, okay, hired the boy even though he has no experience. And she is now there to rub it in Nicole's face that your man, one of your men's is, okay, his son is going to be working for me up at the free clinic, And y'all, Danny gets a knife and says, you know what, I've been looking for a hoe to get crunk with, okay? And Nicole tells her, no, sissy, I've got this. Y'all know how Nicole talks, right? I've got this. And she tells her off, and she lets her know, why don't you just leave me alone? You're obsessed with me because you still hope that Ted wants you. And y'all, how come Leslie talking about that nurse ain't nothing but a placeholder? And Nicole says, really? Well, Ted just told me that basically he in love. Y'all, how come Leslie looked like her heart was broken to a million pieces? I'm like, Lord have mercy. Now I'm going to stop and say this. Y'all, it's for this kind of stuff that I took off for 2 weeks. You mean to tell me we're now almost to 2 years and Leslie is still hooked on Ted? This is what the writers are giving us. She's still hooked on Ted. Other than Leslie getting a large sum of money, what does Leslie actually have going for herself? Not a thing. Not a doggone thing. Well, like I said, she looks so hurt and broken. So we shall see what happens. Naomi and Chelsea are up at the Uptowns, but not at the bar. And they are talking over this whole situation that's going on between Chelsea and Kat, where Kat is very angry about how praiseworthy Chelsea was of Eva. And so Naomi is talking with her, but y'all know Naomi seems to be putting 20 on 10, Damn it, you don't owe anybody an explanation. Damn it. And Chelsea looks at her like, okay, is this really about me and Chelsea and me and Kat right now? And she says to her that, yes, there is a little bit of heat coming off from her about this whole BRCA gene drama. But she says to her, you really don't owe Kat. Kat told you to interview Eva. And now she's upset about it. Well, Kat was up at the Orphe Jeans, like I said, with Deanna. She gets a text, y'all, from Naomi. Meet me up at Uptowns immediately. You know, it's an emergency, basically. She gets there and she's like, you know what? No, you didn't. Because she knows that Naomi is trying to arrange a sit down between she and Chelsea. And so Chelsea and Kat go back and forth. You did this and you said this and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, they both turn on Naomi. And then they realize Naomi is doing what she used to do when they were little girls. She has given them in herself a common enemy, which does what? Brings the two of them together. So they giggle and sniggle, and they're back on good terms. And Naomi says, damn, I'm good. One of the things that Chelsea said to Kat today that I was really funny is, it's not my fault that you have organ donor remorse. Eva. Y'all, Eva was at Garland. She had her PT with Shanice. We didn't see this, but we see her coming from around the corner holding her side. Ooh, 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 right? And she's like, Shanice, Dad, you know, here come. You know what, y'all? I'm sorry, I can't talk about Ted no more, okay? The bottom line is Ted was happy to see her. Now moving on. Eva then does do an interview in Ted's office with Noah. Y'all, I don't want to say, listen, I don't want to get nothing started, okay? I don't want to start no stuff. But do you guys get the feeling, and I was engaging with one of you about this today, I think it was, or maybe it was yesterday, in the comments. Do any of you guys get the feeling they're trying to whitewash our soap? I know that may seem extreme, but it seems like all of our new characters, you know, and their storylines seem to be taking over. And I'm going to say this, that could be a creative control thing. I don't know, but, and I'm not against, I don't want anyone to take this out of context. I'm not against our show being multicultural, and we need that, right? Listen, everybody's lives are pretty much the same, okay? But what I don't want to happen, I don't want it to creep and tiptoe, which is what it seems to be happening to me. It's like slowly happening. We've seen this a number of times with predominantly black shows, have we not, all of you who are my age, where the whole point of the show is supposed to center on a black family, and then all of a sudden now the black family is kind of somehow in the background and all this other stuff is taken over. And so I'm hoping that this is not what's happening to our show. All I know is I'm enjoying it so far, but I'm going to be very honest. If this turns into a situation that we've seen far too often, I will have no problem, honey, in stopping to watch Beyond the Gates. Okay? But Eva is not for hiring Noah because Noah doesn't have it. Noah has a business degree, okay? But Noah has no business experience. And he tells her, my heart is music anyway. And she's like, how are you going to do all that and be this poppin' musician that you want to be and run the free clinic? And he says, this work is in the day, but this will be in the night. But I would be coming from gigs late and I'd be tired. Well, Leslie, because Leslie has barged in on the interview, she says she learns he's Kyle Rollins' son. All of a sudden now he has a halo on and she gives him the job. Well, Noah then goes over, y'all, to Uptowns. Kat has left now to go meet Chelsea and Naomi, and he sees Deanna, and he pays her back. He doesn't give her $20. He gives her $25. And they get to talking, and y'all, they bond over the fact that his mother died of a heart attack, her father died in a fiery crash. And he invites her out because he says he would like to get to know her better. Prior to that, remember I was telling you guys that Kat and Deanna were sitting there hanging out. They were just getting caught up together. I mean, Kat was downloading to her about her frustrations with Chelsea, interviewing Eva and making Eva seem like Eva was the queen and the savior of the day when Eva did nothing. I think this friendship that they've given Kat is very necessary, because one of the things that I know I've complained about a number of times is just how lacking in support Kat's family is towards her. But now they've given her Deanna, and Deanna sees her as the queen. Deanna even says, when I get into a difficult situation, I say to myself, what would Kat do? And Kat's like, oh. So I appreciate the BTG writers for listening to us and giving Kat someone to be a part of her support system, even though it came in a very unlikely way. Basically Deanna. Well, at one point when Deanna was getting a little frustrated, she was telling Kat how she has someone who's advising her. Now, we know she's talking about Doug, right? And she's like, they just come to me in my head, And Kat starts prying around. Who is it? All of a sudden, Isaiah walks up, and she's like, Mr. Hawthorne. And so Isaiah, of course, works at Banneker. He's been advising Deanna, so they have a little exchange. But at one point, Deanna goes to the side, and she tells Kat, I got to take this phone call. It's my mom. When really she's pretending to take a call. She's looking at a photo, y'all, of she and her father. And she's like, Daddy, I almost let it spill. Basically, I almost told Kat that you come to me in these like visions or whatever. But I didn't. And at that very moment, Isaiah walks over. Are you okay? Are you okay? Y'all, I am hoping that they're going to give Kat a new love interest. What I need to happen, BTG writers, I need Kat to cheat on Tomas. I mean, it's not real life. It's a fictional world, but that's what I want. I need her to get him back, and then I need her to have another man blow her back out, okay? And I really think it could be Isaiah, or check this out, y'all, Jacob. I know. It would be messy, but that's the kind of drama this soap needs, okay? We need some Dupree infighting, okay? Well, y'all, Isaiah and Eva. Eva gets home. Ooh, she's still in pain. They're kissing and going on. She tells him all about what happened in the day. And they get ready to go out. And, yeah. Do you guys think Eva's pregnant? I'm like, but I guess, I don't know. Maybe that's... I mean, she did just have a surgery, but, that didn't affect the ovaries, okay? So, yeah. Let me just look over my notes. I think that was pretty much it, y'all. Yeah, that was pretty much the long and short of it. Here's the thing that I will say really disappointed me as the show is coming to an end today. Now that Leslie knows that Ted done told Shanice he loves her, we're now going to be, it's going to be Leslie-centric again. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really hated when our show was heavy on Leslie. When she was the center of everything. The center of every storyline, it seemed. The center of every fight. Now we're going to get, instead of her ruining Ted and Nicole, we're going to have to sit and watch her, lay and watch her, stand and watch her try to ruin he and Shanice. So that's going to take up a lot of screen time. And y'all, I'm just not interested. Just like I have zero interest in Ashley and Grayson. And check this out. I'm about to have zero interest in Ted and Shanice too. Okay? Yeah. All right, guys, there you have it. That's the recap of 134. Listen, tell us about your viewer experience in the comments. What did you enjoy on today's show? What stood out to you? What irritated you? Maybe you found today's episode boring. I will say it wasn't the most exciting episode for me, but I had a pretty decent viewer experience. Thank y'all for being here. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Bye, guys.